And coming up on the DLS Stars show on a Monday, it's Spirit Week. We're all wearing DLS gear today. But more importantly, Logan Stankoven is here. Well, not here. He's in Canada. We're going to talk to him right now here on DLS. Stanley Cup Final. And before we welcome in today's show and all the excitement we have, that's right, Logan Stankoven is here. Let's talk about Big Brothers, Big Sisters. This is part of All City Spirit Week. We are teaming up with Big Brothers, Big Sisters of America, an incredible group creating life-changing mentorships for kids across the country. We've set a goal of $10,000, but we'd love to smash right through that, and we can with your help. You can donate using the link in the video or description. And if you want to make an even bigger impact, you can also sign up to become a big by visiting bbs.org/allcity. Let's do something meaningful together this week. All right, it's Monday. It is June 16th. This is the DLS Stars podcast alongside Craig Ludwig, Sam Nesser, our producer, Elijah Smith. I'm Owen Newkirk, and without further ado, it's time to welcome in our guest for the first half of today's show, Logan Stankoven. Yeah, the applause
so
from way out in the peanut gallery. I love
here.
it. Nothing but the top production value for you, Logan. First of all,
thanks for having me on, guys.
Where are you right now?
My hometown, Kamloops, BC.
When you have, your season went as almost as long as it could, minus the final round, and we'll get into all of that. When that ends, are you beelining back to British Columbia?
No, I stuck around for about 5 days. We had a year-end team golf trip, so that was fun. We got to do that, and then I actually took a little trip to Aruba with my girlfriend for about 5 days since we were already on the East Coast. So, and then from there, just flew home. So,
Aruba, that sounds nice.
Don't ask me. He's the one that
thinking
wins.
about it. Yeah, how was it? How was the trip?
it was unreal. Actually, my girlfriend's brother had went last year, and he was raving about it. So we thought, we're on the East Coast already because it is a long flight from if I were to go home and then fly to Aruba. So it's all the way down it's a small island right by Venezuela there. So beautiful beaches and water, and we're at an all-inclusive resort. So a good food too.
I was gonna say, was it mostly relaxing, or was there some adventure and some action there too?
There was a bit of both. For most part, it was just sitting in the sun and going in the water. But we went on a snorkeling excursion one day. Took the scooters downtown from a resort one night, and then went out for dinner another night too. So that was cool to explore a bit.
Well, Stank, since you're the world traveler, you probably haven't heard, but there was a change here in Dallas. The coach is no longer here. The guy that kind of was leading the troops there. The reason I want to start talking about hockey, these guys can talk about your after-curricular and all those other kind of things. I would like to know Rod Brind'Amour. Everybody hears, knows, sees. Can you talk to me about Roddy behind the bench? He's very similar to the player that he was. And then kind of follow up on that, if there is or any different coaching styles from, having Pete back there versus Rod.
Yeah, so I loved Rod. I loved Pete too, but in terms of Rod, I think just how passionate he is for the guys. It's like he's right in there on the ice with us. His pregame speeches, they're really motivational, and you can tell he truly cares for all the guys, and he just wants the best for each of us. So, and he's a coach that rewards hard work, so that's just something he preaches. And I guess in terms of playing style, it's just a little bit more aggressive and on our toes. So, I think that I guess suits my game really well, and hopefully I can continue to contribute in those type of ways.
Rod talked about, I was just going to follow up, but Rod talked about, I think it was last week we put it on our show, he was talking about the trade, saying we got a player we thought we would really like, and then we ended up really loving him. What does that mean to you to hear that about yourself with him? And then how did this kind of, we know Rod is, what you just said, an intense guy. How did it progress with you? What was your, initial first moments with him, and then how has that relationship progressed over the last, whatever it was, 3 months?
Yeah, so I think when I first got there, he just wanted me to come in and play my game, not put too much expectation on myself. They put me in a great position right away and gave me some good opportunities, so I tried to take advantage of that. And I think just more, being able to kind of sit down with him as the season went on and get to know each other. And he's also from, British Columbia, this area, so we can kind of relate to those things. And yeah, I'm excited to hopefully be there for a while. That'd be great.
Logan, I know we've done this conversation from a media perspective about what's it like to be traded for the first time, the surprise at the deadline, but I wanted to ask you a couple of things about it. And the first is, we've been talking about Jason Robertson in the last week because his name has been floated out there in rumors of something maybe the Stars were considering because of some cap constraints or whatever. And then they kind of cooled that off. And we got to talking about it from the vein of the player side, which is you're probably not reading all the things on Twitter or watching all the TSN articles or Sportsnet stuff, but people in your orbit do, and inevitably, no matter how much you try to shield yourself, it comes back to you, right? And Sam was telling me that he had a conversation with you around the trade saying, boy, you're hearing it even though you don't really know what's going on. What's that like when you start to hear your name in the NHL rumor mill and you're sort of waiting to find out what's going on?
Yeah, it really gets your gears going. Like you said, it's basically inevitable to not see your name out there or to hear about it just through friends or family. And I guess until a decision is made or the trade has happened or it doesn't happen, you're pretty nervous and you don't know what to expect. So you're kind of on edge and it's hard to sleep. So that was my feelings, during the deadline.
Do you have to tell your, and I don't know if you describe it as your entourage or your inner circle or your circle of trust, or, but whether it's your family, your close friends, teammates, whoever it is, do you have to sort of give out I know you're still figuring this out in your first couple years pro, but do you have to kind of tell everybody like, hey, during the season, I don't want to hear all these things, or this is what I want to know, or, bring this to me, or like, how do you deal with that? Or how do you figure out what kind of information you want shared and what you don't?
Honestly, for most part, my family and friends are really good with that. If they're gonna talk to me about something or show me something, it's gonna be a positive thing that's happened. So that's for most part what the conversations are like.
Logan, I know we talked about it for right when it happened, right after the trade, but for Stars fans listening, I know they're curious about your side of that situation at the trade deadline. So can you just quickly go through kind of how the timeline went for you and how quickly it was? Because it was kind of shocking to see.
Yeah, it was shocking for everyone. I think we had played Calgary on I believe it was was it a Thursday night? I can't remember exactly when, but Calgary was our last game that I got to play. And um, before I was about to go to bed, I was up playing a little bit of video games just to cool off. That's usually what I do before I head to sleep because after games it's tough to just shut it down right away. So we were playing video games with a few of my buddies, and next thing you know, one of them, starts talking about me getting traded. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, it's starting to be all over Twitter. And I'm like, oh, great. So basically from that time till the deadline, it was just craziness and everything started to gain traction. Didn't have a great sleep that night. And then sure enough, the trade starts to get leaked and I get a phone call from Jim and Pete, and they kind of confirm it. And then I had about 3 hours to pack my bags up and get on a flight to Raleigh. So that's just kind of how it went for me.
I don't. There's very few players that have played in this sport and haven't been traded. So it's part of the business. And Logan, after a while, you become a piece of meat. I mean, that's ultimately we know know what we are. We know, but the good news is there's always somebody else that wants you. And and I look at you, and when Brendan Moore, the player that we like. Well, no kidding, because you only know one way to play. I mean, I think it's the beauty about the way that you go about your business is that, and I'm going to bring up the so-called scoring slump. That's only from the standpoint of goals, but. And I talk to these guys all the time, and you probably have seen it. When a lot of guys that are goal scorers and they're having a hard time scoring goals, they seem to think that if they find a place with a little bit more space, that they've got an opportunity to score goals. But what they end up doing is they move themselves further and further away from the net. And I'm always just the opposite. You go to the front of the net, and when it doesn't matter how it goes in, it goes off. Well, it's over with, and that never changes with you. And that's exactly what Brendan Moore's talking about. But I do want to talk about that slump because you've never been in a slump like that. Was it a case for you that you're like, just stay with it. I know it's gonna go in for me, or does it come a point after, I don't know, 2 games, 5 games, whatever it may be, where you kind of go, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, it's a bit of both. Obviously, at some point it's going to go in, but then when it gets into the 15 games, 20 games, it's like, okay, what's going on here? And I remember during kind of that slump, I had a few games there where like there was a few times where I just got absolutely robbed, and it's like, how does that not go in? Or like, how does the goalie get across to make that save? So yeah, it was obviously like frustrating and something that I've never experienced before, but I think it's all part of the learning curve, and it's the best league in the world for a reason. But the nice thing about it was, I think at the end of the season with Carolina, I was slowly starting to figure out, how to put the puck in the back of the net again, and kind of get back to what I used to do in junior hockey. So hopefully, I can keep building on that.
Did you change anything? I mean, some guys will change their stick. They'll get a different stick, a different brand. They'll change their curve. They'll say it's my skates, my gloves. Did you change anything, or did you just believe in yourself and I'm going to just keep doing what I do?
I actually I tweaked my curve a little bit. I used to have like it's something called max blade, so it's like a higher blade, same kind of curve, but it's just a higher blade, so it gives you more leverage on pucks during face-offs and whatnot. Knocking pucks out of the air, there's more blade there. So I ended up just going back to the normal, like no max blade, just the standard curve you can buy in, your average hockey store. So that's what I went back to, and I felt like I really liked it, and I kind of stuck with it, and yeah, that's what I kind of used for the rest of the season there, and I'll probably keep using it.
So you don't take a different route to the rink, or you don't go buy a new Joe Boo and light them up and
New
fire.
deal.
No,
None of that kind of stuff. All right, cool.
no, none of that.
Logan, last question before we go to the break here. I'm curious on the other side of that. What's the coach's role? What's the management's role? What's your teammates' role when you are going through something like that? Because you mentioned you hadn't been through it. So it's not like you're a 40-year-old veteran that's been through this, knows how to kind of get through it. That's a new thing. What's the role that those guys play in that to, keep you going the right way?
Yeah, a lot of the guys were really supportive, and I'm thankful for that. So they're there to help you through those tough times, and every player goes on scoring droughts, just maybe not whatever it was, 24, 25 games. So yeah, it was a long time, but a lot of the guys were really nice to me, and would kind of help me with your confidence or when you're feeling down. So really thankful for those guys.
We have a lot more with Logan Stankoven coming up here in just a moment here on DLLS.
It's the Reed, isn't it?
It's the Reed.
It's the Reed. It's Mando. It's a men's deodorant brand. Oh, man. It's focused on keeping every aspect, actually, of a man's body smelling fresh and clean. In other words, it keeps the stank away. But not today. We invited the stank here today, so different Mando. Mando overtly calls out more colorful parts of men's bodies, such as pits, belly buttons, butt cracks, and the gonads, and the grundle. Logan, you're probably too young. You haven't even found your grundle yet. We'll let you know where that is at the end of the day. It's created by a doctor who saw firsthand how stank was being misdiagnosed and mistreated, clinically proven to block stank all day long and control it for up to 72 hours. Mando Starter Pack comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off the $5 starter pack with our exclusive code. Now listen up, hey Mando. We have got Logan Stankoven in here, a.k.a. Stank. There would be no better product endorsement deal than Stank.
Oh, my God.
Can you
Preach
imagine
it.
him
Preach
holding
it.
up that little box of Stank? Or well, it'd be Mando. It'd be Mando Stank. Stank Mando.
Mando Stank.
I'm just telling you, you got your name on it, Stank. It's got your name all over it. Just reach out to his representative, Luds, here at DLS. Use code DLLS at shopmando.com. Oh, Stank!
Oh, man.
All right. Unfortunately, I have to follow that up, but thank you for going super long, Lads. I appreciate you.
Keep it short.
Just
Stank.
like your favorite team needs a
Just
home
like
ice advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage, and Empire Today can get it done. I'm going to go right into this here. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DLS listeners can receive a $350 discount when using the promo code DLLS. You heard that right. That is a $350 discount code at Empire Today with DLLS. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/DLLS for full details. Plus, a little bit of stank.
A little bit of Stank.
Wow. So here we are with Logan Stankoven. Had no idea, and we didn't either. That was all Luds.
That
Well
was Luds.
done with our Mando read. I'm just
Representative
sitting here,
Luds.
Logan, and we have a chat going on the side of the YouTube broadcast. And everybody in here, and these are Stars fans all over, thank you, everything Stanky. We miss you, Stank. We love you, Stank. Stank, we're so proud of how you're doing. When you hear this just constant stream of love and support, what does that make you feel?
A lot of good memories there, and yeah, so much support in Dallas, and I definitely miss everyone there, and my time there was nothing but positives. So it's a good feeling. It's nice to see the fans support me and love my game, and yeah, it was nothing but good times there. So thanks to them.
So let's talk about Raleigh a little bit. I've told this story before, so bear with me, guys. But when I was in the AHL with the Albany River Rats about 1 million years ago, we went to a game in Raleigh because we were playing in Norfolk, Virginia. We were the AHL affiliate, Albany River Rats, of the Canes at the time. And we went to a game, blah, 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 blah. And actually, Paul Maurice was the head coach at the time of Carolina. Went down, got to meet him because our old head coach in Albany was Maurice's assistant that year. We're going down by the Canes room, and there's the weight room on my right before the coach's room. And Rod is still playing at the time, and he's in there just destroying the squat rack. And I'd never seen a hockey player work out so hard after a game like Rod Brindamore. So I had to just ask, is he still doing that after games, or is he leaving that to the players right now?
He's not in this. I don't think he's in the squat rack that much, but he's always in the gym. Like as soon as us guys leave the rink, or even beforehand, before guys start showing up, he's in the gym doing his thing. So it's impressive, and yeah, he's jacked. So it's pretty cool to see him still being active like that.
Is that different for you for most of your hockey coaches?
Yeah, I think so. But it's understandable, a guy that's played in the league. So yeah, he wants to stay in good shape. So yeah, good for him.
Well,
Okay.
Luds played for Hitchcock. He was in the gym every day before doing squats and stuff too, right?
He was. He was looking for all the leftover donuts.
So you get this great reception from all the Stars fans, whether it was when you first were drafted, when you won the Rookie of the Year in the AHL, since you made your debut in Dallas and played really well. And then after the trade, like obviously they're still missing you, whether it, oh my goodness, even miss you in Cedar Park. Look at that. What was the reception like for you from your new teammates in Raleigh and then from the fans in Carolina? Because as Lud said, from an on-ice tactical standpoint, it seems like you're the perfect fit for the way that Rod and the Hurricanes want to play. But what was it like as you first flew in to play with the Hurricanes, how you felt you were received by everybody?
It was awesome. Very similar to how, I was kind of welcomed in Dallas. Like the fans were excited and very welcoming. The day of the trade when it went down, I had about 6 or 7 guys from the team text me right away and say how excited they were to have me joining them. So yeah, it's a good feeling, and obviously during that day, there's so many emotions. You're sad and upset to be leaving one team, but excited for a new adventure. So yeah, both sides, both teams so far have been very welcoming, and it's a nice thing to have for a player.
Well, Logan, I want to go X's and O's a little bit here. I know Luds will like this conversation. The Stars just kind of talked at the end of the year about how they got a little too much into the rush style of offense during the regular season, and they weren't able to flip the switch and turn into a playoff style team. You guys, very similar to the Florida Panthers, you play one way. You specifically play one way. Rod played one way. Your team plays one way. How does that structure differ from your time in Dallas in terms of your game? But really, how does that translate to playoff success without having to have any sort of changes really when you head into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it's just like all gas and very aggressive. You know, Rod preached that, they wanted us to play more physical. And yeah, I think when you play like that for a full season, you don't have to flip the switch right away. Maybe it takes a toll more on your body, but I love the way we played and our tactics. We had some really good, set plays off of face-offs and breakouts and whatnot. So yeah, I think it was different in that way, but I really enjoyed it.
It he is the identity of what Dallas needs to play like. I mean, that's the hardest thing, and it's a compliment to you, Logan, because the only way it sounds like that Dallas was going to get a player like Mikko Rantanen here, they wanted you. Like it was a deal breaker. We're not doing it unless we get Stankoven, because he plays the style that Rod knows is what wins. And because I kind of have this thing about you got to get to the front of the net. Well, that's where you automatically gravitate. Like and for a guy that's not 6'4", which in my opinion in today's game, I think you probably find it an advantage at times, especially when you're against bigger defensemen, because I know for me playing, you would have a way to kind of get between me and the goaltender, and it's hard to move you once you get planted like that. Now, all that BS being said, I want to ask you one thing. Well, when you were here in Dallas, did you ever get bored after practice and things? You had some free time on your hands that you actually went out and wanted to get another job, like a little part-time gig to kill some time?
No, I kind of went to play it against sports, and
that's all I needed to hear. That's it.
I
Okay.
kind of went
You
to
know
play
what?
it
Let
against
me tell you
sports.
why. Let me tell you why, Logan. I had like
Yeah.
a lot of my stuff that I had got taken. Forget it. It just got taken, and somehow some guy ended up with it, right? And one day he was sending me these things like, I got this, I got that. We could make a trade and a deal. I'm like, I'll tell you, it's my shit. I want
Are you
it.
talking
Anyway,
about the stuff that was in your Jeep?
all that kind of stuff.
Oh, there's
yeah.
a story
So,
here.
anyways, Logan. So I go to meet this dude, and I'm expecting to have this little. And I brought one of my twins with me, and so I'm thinking, well, if something goes down, I'm good here. I got backup. And it was like, here, you can have this, and that's how this guy actually worked for or with some guy from Play It Again Sports. And so I think he kind of dropped a dime on you there. And then I'm like, man, that doesn't make sense. But I think you just had a little free time. You were just kind of dangling something out there.
Yeah, I think it was just more like, hey, if you need a hand, like I'm a big sports guy. Like I love just being around sports in general, and it ended up like working out fine. Like I ended up just kind of signing some sticks for them, and they'd had, Play It Again would put on like I think it was like a charity golf tournament, and they had me sign a couple jerseys for them and raffle it off. So um, I think for me, like growing up, I kind of had a connection to that because. Um, about till I was like, you know, playing like really competitive hockey, like I would always go to secondhand sports stores. I wouldn't always get, the new gear top of the line all the time. So I think that's kind of where the connection came in. And yeah, I guess that I kind of have a soft spot for places like that.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah. Logan, I got to ask you, Wyatt Johnston had a video come out. I think it was like a Chipotle sponsor with him and Brian Ray. They were playing ping pong and things like that.
If you want to call what Brian did playing ping pong.
Wyatt is cocky as ever about his ping pong. He's got the trophy in there and everything. So I know you lived in the apartments complex with him and Harley and those guys. Tell me about your experience playing with him. Is Wyatt truly the best ping pong player, or were you able to dethrone him a little bit to knock him down?
Unbiased rankings, I'd say Harley first, then I'd say myself, then Johnny. But in Johnny's defense, the last ping pong tournament that we did while I was there, he ended up winning the tournament. So he had progressed a lot and gotten a lot better. Just because like we'd been playing so much, so he caught up to me and Harles. But in terms of like most wins and who was coming out on top most, it was probably Harles.
So he's got the trophy for the one win, and he's bragging like he's the champion. But meanwhile, he's the third best in the.
I wasn't prepared for this, but I do have a tidbit about this. So I was watching the "We're Not Going Home" documentary again, the Jeff Totes put together of the Stars bubble playoff back in 2020, a week or so ago. And one of the things that I noticed was there was a Stars ping pong rankings board, like actual, like a professionally made like signage thing where you could like write in maybe dry erase marker or something. Did you guys still have that in the Stars Lounge? Do you guys still have like standings? Oh, are we losing Logan here? Uh-oh.
Hey, you said he had a hard out.
Yeah, he's got it out in 30 seconds. So
his representation said,
Logan, take
no
the
more
extra 30 seconds.
ping pong questions or whatever.
Oh, he's coming back.
Yeah. There he is.
Hello?
There
we got you.
Hey, do you guys got me? I don't know what happened there. That was weird.
Good try, Logan. Good try.
Figured that your publicist was too upset about these ping pong questions.
Yeah.
So, no, I was just asking, I saw the sign in the old documentary from 5 years ago. Is that Stars ping pong rankings board that you can write on and move around still there?
Yeah, that was I think that was Johnny's idea to like mark down what the wins and losses were. So Johnny though, like we'd leave it in his apartment, and when we'd leave, he'd switch it to like show him being like first on the standings board with like a lot of wins, even though like he only had a few wins. So
Give you a new insight into why.
Hey, I wanna ask, since you mentioned Brian Ray, you got some roots in Kamloops. I don't know if you've heard, but there is somebody in the Stars organization headed to the Hall of Fame, and I'm just curious if you have any input on the statue that's probably going to be built outside of that Kamloops arena for our one. He's up here. I can't reach him right now. Have you heard about who's going into the Hall of Fame, by the way?
No.
Break the news.
He's going to be pissed.
Break it.
He is going to be pissed. Razor is going into the Hockey Hall of Fame. And so I know, awesome. And here he is right here, in case you can't see him. We got bobbleheads. I asked him to bring in one bobblehead. There's about 37 of them in here. So I was just curious. Well, now you know. I was just curious if you're going to have any input as far as the statue that they're putting out front there.
Oh, no. I won't have any input. But, no, that's great. That's an awesome accomplishment for him, so.
I should have known better. He's been overseas for the last month, so how would he know what's going on around here?
Exactly. He's been in Aruba.
All right, we got to let Logan go.
Yeah, get out of here, Logan.
Big at your plans.
All right. Well, Logan, we'd love to have you on again sometime, but thank you so much for today. It's a blast. I truly mean this. It was fun to get to know you and watch you come up to the league, and to the fact that you guys made it to the conference final on the other side of the standings at the same time was really cool. You scored a huge goal against Florida. We were very much excited about it, and so are everybody that are watching you. You have a lot of Logan Stankoven fans in Dallas.
I was watching the game for his first goal, Carolina.
Yep.
I was watching that day. I think we all might have been.
So,
thanks,
Logan.
you
very much. Enjoy your summer.
Thank you, Logan.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Good chatting with you. Take care.
There he goes, Logan Stankoven here on DLLS. Lots more to talk about. Lots of hockey talk. right here on DLS Stars.
Finances can be messy and confusing, but Monarch Money acts like your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control so you can stop earning and start growing. Fun fact, I downloaded Monarch Money yesterday as I was looking for a better app for my finances. So I've tested it a little bit. It is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, I need to have money to be able to utilize it.
That usually works.
That's step number 2. Don't just manage your money. Start building wealth with 50% off your first year for DLS listeners. Start managing your finances to build the life you actually want, because without a clear financial picture, financial dreams can feel out of reach. Monarch Money makes managing your money.
You should definitely managing your money.
Even for busy lives, simple. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code DLS at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code DLLS. Manage your money.
Let's talk about Wendy's. If you love Wendy's classic Frosty flavors, we have some big news. There are all new Frosty Swirl and Frosty Fusion flavors you can get in either chocolate or vanilla. So it's the same creamy treat you've always loved, now with a flavor refresh. So what are these new flavors? Well, Sam, I'm so glad you asked.
I did.
We've got Frosty Swirls in strawberry, brownie batter, and caramel or caramel. Then we've got the thoroughly blended and mixed Frosty Fusions, Oreo brownie, caramel crunch, and Pop-Tarts strawberry. Not to mention that, yes, you can still get it in vanilla as well. Try them all to find your favorite. Which one are you going to choose? Which one are you going to like? Which one are you going to say, that one is my go-to? Anyway, whatever flavor you're craving, odds are we've got a Frosty for it. So clock in for the sweet treat time anytime, including midnight or later, with Wendy's all-new Frosty favorites and flavors. A refresh on a classic. Got to be Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's. Hours may vary by location. That was great stuff from Logan Stankoven. I actually had a question teed up, but we just ran out of time. I wanted to ask him. Luds, he was played in consecutive seasons with a couple of 40-year-olds that were teammates in San Jose, first with Joe Pavelski, ding, and Brent Burns. And I wanted to get his...
You can't be giving that away, Elijah. You got to let him work for that.
No, I'm trying to help him early.
This is his 3rd or 4th day now.
That's true.
Yeah,
I'm trying to help him.
No.
Well, wait till he finds the ding.
So I'm like Grease Monkey out here.
Wait till he finds the bell on the drop, not just the... There it is. He's got them both now. There we go. Ding, ding, ding. So I got to say Pavelski.
Sweaty in here, eh?
But
his ding is way better than John. John's got a dainty ding.
This seems like a personal question.
Yeah.
All right. So let's move on.
Wait, can we...
You want to say something?
I just wanted to say that was hilarious to find out. We got a little bit of a cocky side of Wyatt Johnston that I'm not sure we knew about. Changing around boards, trying to get his name up top, putting the trophy up for one championship. You guys are always in the locker room. When you watch interviews and things like that, you don't watch just the player that's on the interview. You have to watch behind it.
Yes.
He's a little sneaky. He kind of darts in and out, and you can kind of tell which is great. I mean, I think that, and again, if you're not in that room, I think people get a certain perception of players, right? And
I think it's really good about saying the right things in front of the cameras too.
Well, that's what you want.
Yep.
I mean, you want those and again, those are all qualities of being a what?
I was going to say a leader, but you're thinking about a captain.
Yeah, I would say a leader to start with. You begin, you're a leader. I think, I don't know if, again, we don't have to go to the whole C thing right now, but I don't think that's going to happen right away.
No.
But I think there's going to be a letter on him, and then you kind of graduate to that.
All right, let's talk about some coaching really quickly, because on Sam's favorite podcast, which is not DLS Stars, unfortunately,
that's third.
There was a little update over the weekend from Elliotte Friedman. So I clipped it, and I want everybody to listen what Elliotte had to say about, it's not anything earth-shattering, but here's what Elliotte, the latest of the Stars coaching search, what Elliotte had to report.
I believe Dallas has now interviewed at least 2 internal candidates for their head coaching job, Alain Nasreddine and Neil Graham. And, as we said the last pod, I think Neil had a decision to make. Does he go internal or does he go external? But he wanted to do the internals first. I don't know how many internal guys. I heard at least 2, like I said, Nasreddine, Graham, and we'll see. And someone did confirm to me what I mentioned on a previous pod is that Graham has options. Like Dallas knows other teams are calling about him. And I'll tell you something else. I heard if Nasruddin doesn't get the head coaching job, he's going to have options. I've heard other teams want to talk to him too. So Dallas has a few things to wade through here.
And that actually made me perk up a little bit because we all know that they have a year left on their contracts. The Stars NHL coaches like Nasruddin. So why would he go to another team? There are no other NHL head coaching availabilities or openings right now. But if he has a year left, a guy like Naz, Spotter, Misha Donskov, would you think that there's a chance that they might go to another team to be an assistant?
I guess there's a chance on any of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as far as Jim's concerned, Jim's waiting for a full bench. And there's one more guy out there for sure that he's going to talk to, but got to wait for this, the finals to get over with because he's on one of those benches. So, I think he's going to do exactly what he said, is he's going to interview everybody and anybody that they have any kind of interest in, or even people that may have been recommended to him. So, but yeah, I think that, you go, if you're leaving to go from one place to another place and not be ahead right away, maybe it's got something to do with a conversation saying, here's where we are with this coach and in 2 years from now. So I think anything's on the table right now. I guess we all just got to hang out and wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I think the big one is kind of what you said, Luds, is that if Naz and Spotter and Misha are not on this bench next year, it's probably because the head coach came in and brought some of his own guys, right? You got to expect. I know Sean kind of joked about it, like Neil said that they are staying, but they also kind of said Pete was staying and he wasn't. Yeah. I think the idea is, as of right now, we have no reason to say our coaches aren't coming back. But if we hire Steve Ott or Gulletson, and he brings in an assistant or two, why would you stay there as the lone coach that's left over from, the only one I can kind of see is Naz, because he's got the specifics. The penalty kill's been excellent. He's had his spot, Steve Spot. But I think
Steve Spot has a spot?
No, I think Steve Spot would go. I imagine Steve Spot goes wherever Pete goes eventually.
Where would
but I
that
don't
spot
know.
be?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good news that you don't know.
Better parking spot than we got.
Okay.
We can go this place, I'll tell you. But the interesting one is Misha to me. Like, where do you see him going? Like, let's say they hire a new Gulletson and he brings in a couple assistants. Does Misha stay, or do you think he's getting offers too?
You say if he got hired and brought in a couple assistants. I'm not so sure with the staff that the Stars have right now if they're willing to make that kind of room. I bet you that they'll at least offer one. But you're right. I know, Luds, you're giving me that look because
if they're bringing in a new coach, it comes with the territory.
Right, but that doesn't always happen, especially for a younger one. I would think that they would love to have a guy like Misha to help groom, to help mentor, especially a younger coach that doesn't have a ton of NHL experience, if that's the way they go.
And he's shown. I mean, he was the only assistant on that Canada roster, or that Canada Four Nations bench. He's got more than just an assistant coach in him in the future, and I think that could be a good way to assimilate someone into the new teams.
Now,
I don't know.
If the Stars want to talk to Glenn Gulletson, they have to wait till the Stanley Cup Final is over. That's a nice segue into talking about the Stanley Cup Final, because over the weekend on Saturday, Florida won Game 5. Brad Marchand put up another wonderful performance. The Oilers are now backs against the wall going into tomorrow, as Sam, you were saying, Game 6 in Florida. Luds, I would imagine that you're not messing with the Dairy Queen run right now if you're the Panthers the night before.
Well,
that would be tonight, them making a Dairy Queen trip. Maybe it's a road thing. Maybe it's not a home thing, but a whole bunch of guys have started showing up to those evening Dairy Queen runs, and it's working for them.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, but the thing is, Florida has played actually better on the road. So there may be something that they do want to tweak. I mean, again, this sport is very superstitious, and you follow trends, and you kind of know what's working. You take different routes sometimes and all that kind of stuff. So, I think that Edmonton's in a tough spot. I do, and I think I'm hoping that they win. I mean, I want it to go 7 games because we don't got any kind of dog in the fight here. But the thing is you look at what's going on with the Florida team. The difference to me between Florida, or obviously there's going to be a goaltending difference. We know that, but I think what Edmonton, they don't have a second tier of players that can do what the other guys can do on a consistent basis when they're going. And I think Florida, what happens is if Barkov's not doing what he's supposed to do, or Reinhardt's not doing it, now they got a second tier of players and a third. Like they're just, and I don't even know if Edmonton really has a fourth line, and so that it's just the depth. And again, that's what the playoffs are about. You wear teams down. You ultimately, over the course of 7 games if needed, I think the good teams, they ultimately push people out of the game and out of the fight. So we'll see how this thing goes.
You texted something interesting during that game about Marchand off the faceoffs. If you're
don't know how they don't.
Would you not be either all over him to not get him through, or all over the officials to not let him encroach?
It's not the first time he does it. All he does is he doesn't look at anything else but the linesman as he's dropping the puck. The same way that the centermen are looking at the puck, Marchand is looking at it. And so that's how he jumps to the inside every time. So I'd be telling my wingers that's against him, make it difficult. Make him go behind you. Yeah. And then the other thing is, everything that you look at all of his goals, look at everything he does. Everything goes through the middle of the ice. He's not generally going to beat people on the outside. He tries. Look what he did to Ekholm. When he got across the blue line, he takes a couple steps to his left to get Ekholm to go to his right. And as soon as Ekholm leans to his right, where does he go? He goes right up the middle of the ice. Now, very similar to Stankoven, like if he does get the edge on, he gets around the corner, he can drop a shoulder. Then ultimately, if you don't get a quality scoring chance, you draw a penalty somehow. But Marchand knows the player that he is, and he knows he's got the leverage, he's got that wide stance, and when he gets in there and you get on his back, he's like a dog on a bone. He ain't letting go, and he's going to make sure he gets to the front of the net. So, and I know that everybody's, gabbing about how much is he going to get? Would he be a great player?
It's just crazy. I think I heard it. I think it was on 32 Thoughts. They were saying, forget turning the clock back. This is a new level of Marchand. We haven't seen this guy since maybe 2011.
Yeah, this isn't like the Renaissance. This is maybe his best he's ever played in the playoff
the fact that everything you just said, all the steps to how he scores goals, getting into the faceoff circle, beating the guy to the puck, making those moves like he did on Ekholm, catching people flat-footed, getting to the middle of the ice. And then somehow with 2 guys on his back, he's still finishing all of these chances. Or his shot, I forget which goal it was, the first or the second, the shot far post.
Yep.
He's putting it perfectly in the corners off the bar. Are you just feeling it as a player, and that's why you're just playing at that level?
Yeah, I've never had that feeling in my entire career. So I kind of wish I
had
a little bit of that.
That's for sure.
But when you're talking about this player, and who, regardless if they find a way to work it out there, which may be tough, or he goes someplace else, don't expect him to be doing these kind of things 1 through 82. Like, he is a playoff kind of guy. So wherever he goes, you have to understand the kind of guy he is. And I think he's at that point in his career. He's like, dude, I know where I'm getting paid for. I'm getting paid playing the playoffs. So I may not be taking games off because I don't know if that player actually knows how to take games off, but you can kind of play certain ways to make it look like you're effective and you're still not emptying your tank out every night. And he deserves that if he goes somewhere. Now, it'll be interesting to me if somebody wants to step up to the plate and offer him 4 years and spread that out and make it $5 million over. Kind of, didn't we have what's his name, left here and went to Toronto, the defenseman?
You're talking about Tanev.
Did he get 5 years or something like that? Something 6 years.
Yeah.
Well, he's not. I mean, the 6 years a throwaway. So can you spread payments out on him and get 5 a year? And so basically the package is $20 million, and just kind of toss that $5 million at the end if he gives you that opportunity to win a cup. Now, again, how many times do we see? Bennett seems to be doing it again this year, but how many times you see that player do it over and over and over?
It's not always
especially
the case,
at 38 years old next year. I don't know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he gets in the summer, especially because, as Sam was alluding to, the conversation that Elliott and Kyle had on 32 Thoughts was Boston and he, before the trade deadline, were talking about trying to come to an agreement on an extension. And I think they were talking about
at 7.
6.5.
He wanted 7.
Yeah. So
and they said no. And he said, see ya. And now look at that.
I wondered if there was a way out, but yeah, it's certainly working out for him. We'll talk more about Stanley Cup Final tomorrow if we have a chance because we have a mystery guest tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
We will let you know when the show starts who's going to be. Even Luds doesn't know.
Not even this guy
Sam
knows.
and I happen to know because we both happen to be helping work on booking it. So we've got, I think, a guest that you will absolutely love tomorrow. We will talk about that and more, but up next, guess what? 12 nations have announced their first 6 players for their Olympic men's hockey tournament rosters. Let's talk about all 12 next year on DLS. But first, let's talk about the ball knower bonus. Why? Because, well, we still have hockey and basketball going on. So is it Game 5 of the NBA Finals? Is it Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals? Who do you think wins either one of those? Well, the ball knower bonus is back here at DLS, and we have a chance for you to win a gift card to the All City merch store if you pick correctly. So how do you do it? First, pick a winner. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final, Game 5 of the NBA Finals. First you'd have to do is you click on the link that's in our chat on the show YouTube description. That'll send you to make that pick. Then you browse our store, make a purchase of at least $25 or more. If your pick is successful, then you win a gift card for the same amount as your original order. That is the ball knower bonus. Make sure you click on that link and you can win for each one. It's not just one game. It's every single game of both the NBA Finals and the Stanley Cup Finals. In addition to that, because we are talking about DLS, no better time to sign up to be a diehard than Spirit Week. So use that QR code at the bottom of the screen. That'll take you to alldls.com. You can sign up to be a diehard. Pick out the Mike Madonna 16-bit shirt, one of the classics here at DLS. Maybe it's the one that Sam or Luds are wearing, or one of the many other shirts that we have, including the Otter shirts. Our old producer, John, who I don't think Luds is willing to say his name anymore, was wearing the Otter shirt today. We've got the Finnish Mafia shirt. We've got Wyatt's 16-bit, Mikko's finisher, even the Captain and the Moose. All great options and many, many more here on the DLS Diehard. Plus, being a diehard, because all our shows are available on YouTube and on the audio streaming podcast platforms of your choice for free. So why do you be a diehard? Well, you get all of the writing from Sam and all of the other writers here at DLS, and lots of discounts for Spirit Week and much, much more. All right, guys, let's talk about the Olympics. This is an interesting debate because the four nations started announcing their players, and then they announced their full rosters, and then there was a discussion of maybe we should have had a few more players as they were getting tired toward the end of the Four Nations tournament and some injuries.
Yep.
Maybe they should have waited a little bit longer because the players they announced December 1st maybe aren't the ones that they want on the roster in February. Well, for the Olympics coming up in February in Italy, today, all 12 of the men's hockey tournament countries announced their first 6. And so we have photos of all of them. We can kind of go rapid fire if you want. The first couple, and Elijah, you can, if you want to go with everything with Canada and U.S. last, I think that would be good. So you can hit us with any of the ones that you have available. Let's start with Sweden, a big country. We have Victor Hedman, Lucas Raymond, Adrian Kempe, Rasmus Dahlin, William Nylander, and Gabe Landeskog, which is awesome to see.
Love that.
Because a few months ago, we didn't know if Landeskog would ever play a hockey game again, let alone be able to captain the Olympics. My question for you guys is not the list of those 6. You think John Klingberg has been able to do enough to get himself on, because he missed a golden chance when they weren't going to the Olympics to be one of the marquee Swedish defensemen? And especially in countries like Sweden, the Olympics, the World Championships are a huge deal. Do you think Klingberg getting healthy, I know he's been scratched the last couple of games for Edmonton, can he make the Swedish Olympic roster next February?
Well, I think if you're playing on big ice, it's where he excels.
Yeah.
Big ice, the Olympics in general aren't usually that physical. So especially when, you got a European team playing a European team. So if he's healthy, I think he would, again, with big ice and things like that and the passes and the little plays that he can make, I think he would benefit somebody as long as he's healthy.
Personal level, I hope he makes it. I know,
Oh, my
I know that
goodness.
was huge for him when he was really bummed about it.
In his peak of his career, right, which maybe he's going to have a resurgency here now that his hip surgery went well and he seems to feel pain-free and has more mobility. But he was one of the marquee NHL players out of Sweden, right, along with a guy like Hedman, a real offensive guy. I hope he gets the chance to do it because I know it would be a special thing. I know he's been able to play World Championships before, but the Olympics is something different.
Yeah.
So the Stars one that actually does have a slant is Finland, as it was extremely victory green today when Finland announced their players, because there are 3 Dallas Stars on the Finnish roster: Mikko Rantanen, Miro Heiskanen, and Esa Lindell, along with Sebastian Aho, UC Saros,
Nice.
and Alexander Barkov. Well done, Elijah.
Yes.
And guys, Rope Hintz is going to be on that team. He's not on the first 6. I don't know if Granlund is going to re-sign with Dallas, but he will definitely be on that list. There will be a very strong Stars contingent for this Finnish team again, just like the Four Nations.
And if whoever the Stars coach is going to be, I'm thinking, yeah, that's cool, but man, do we got to take all 5 guys or 6 guys?
Yeah.
I mean, again, there's something else. There's another half of the season to go.
They're going to go out there and get Yoki Haru this
Oh,
summer,
yeah.
and he's
Yeah,
going to be
there you
the
go.
6th one that's going to be
Let's
out.
to that end, do you think it was helpful for NHL coaches, players, and GMs to go through the Four Nations this year as sort of a warm-up for next year's Olympics, as far as dealing with that during a season?
Being a year away, I don't think so. I mean, right now the only ones that are benefiting from it, they play in Florida.
Yeah.
I don't know what the benefit is. I mean, again, for me, I'm looking from, selfishly is like all these extra games and all this extra time, and the rest of us are here to win a Stanley Cup. Well, you guys are out there playing around in the Olympics.
Playing around.
We need you guys in
And wine and
June.
cheese in Italy.
Yeah.
So let's go to, there's so many teams, and some of them are not
What is?
that, for example, like France has Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, former NHLer. Alexander Texier is the only current NHLer on the roster. Then you look at Italy, they have a Anaheim Ducks draft pick and goalie Damien Clara, and some other guys that I'm not super familiar with. But then you start to get to the ones that I think are going to be a lot of fun, and who knows where they're going to be. Let's go to Slovakia. Juraj Slafkovsky, of course, the big name, but you have Eric Chernak, Martin Pospisil, you have Martin Ferivari from the Capitals, Tomas Tatar, Simon Nemec from the Devils. There's some young players that are coming up for this
How old
Slovakian
is
team.
Tatar? He got to be 35.
He
36.
feels like
yeah.
he's been
I
around
think he's
forever, doesn't
35.
he?
Yeah. He was in Montreal for a while, so.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Beyond that, how about Latvia is going to be fun because you have young Artur Silovs, who will be most likely the backup to Elvis Merzlikins, who I would imagine will be the starter. But I'm kind of almost embarrassed to say, because I've covered this league for a long time, I didn't know until today that Teddy Bluger was Latvian. For some reason in my head, maybe it's because Teddy Purcell played in the league for a long time and he was from Newfoundland. I thought Bluger was a Canadian, but he's definitely Latvian. That's on me. That should be our frosty take of the week. But
Captain America.
There's always something about the Latvian team that kind of creates some fun. They have a good, boisterous fan base, and they surprise some people.
Yeah, and the key in this tournament that I've learned, Olympics, Four Nations, whatever you want to call it, goalies can steal some games.
Yeah.
You got a guy like Merzlikins that can definitely put a team on his back. That's when those Latvias and Germanys and Norways have those games that they either get a little close with Canada and the U.S. or pull off one of the wins.
Speaking of Germany,
I like
obviously
this team.
Leon Draisaitl is the big name, but Tim Stützle is there, Nico Sturm, young Lucas Reichel, who's a Blackhawks guy, then Moritz Seider, Grubauer,
team.
their goalie. Germany, Luds, is slowly building a team that actually can be competitive at a high level.
Yeah, I think when you mention those names there, now all of a sudden you're talking about somebody that, as an opponent, that, if you've played against them before, being Germany, you don't fear them. I know there was a couple years back when they had some good players there, but now you're like, we better take advantage of the opportunities that we get, because they got some heavy guys there and they got some guys that can do some damage.
Yeah, that's where like Draisaitl's got to score 7 goals, right? Or 8 goals, because the depth is where the difference is with the U.S., Canada, and those teams. Your top 6 can play really well, and Draisaitl can be a superstar. You can make some noise at these times.
I want to see him score from the goal line on an Olympic sheet of
Yeah,
ice.
from that
all the way
angle.
to the corner. In the crowd.
Well, speaking of a team that struggles with some depth but is closer to the Four Nations level than some of the smaller teams trying to fight their way up, is Czechia, formerly known as the Czech Republic. And obviously they're led by David Pastrnak. You have Marty Necas. Lucas Dostal is a good young goalie. He could be a real carrying influence for them. Andre Palat, Pavel Zaka, Radko Gudas. Czechia's issue, Luds, in the past is they've always been a little thinner on the blue line than they have up front.
It seems like some of these teams end up playing a little bit more defensive than you would think. Like some of the teams that go into this, and ultimately when you're on the big ice like that, as long as you take care of the middle of the ice, you'll find that offensive players, they gravitate to where the open ice is. And now all of a sudden their angles become tougher, and the goaltenders seem to play better, like you say, because then you'll see a lot of when you say steal a game, there's a lot of shots that are being put up, but they're not necessarily the Owen Newkirk high danger, high quality scoring areas.
I really like that
I'd
we've
love to see you
trademarked
track.
that.
I would
now.
love to see you keep track of them.
Yeah, I'm imagining that our guy Roddick Fox will be on this.
Oh,
this
yeah,
team as well.
for sure. Yeah, I
playing
would
a pretty
think so.
big role.
Denmark, big name, of course, is Nikolai Ehlers, but they also have Freddie Anderson healthy, which I know that Stankoven and Carolina are happy about. Oliver Bjorkstrand is a great player. Lars Eller. They have a couple of younger guys in Ronberg and Jensen Abbo. And then you got the two big teams, Canada first, and then we'll finish with the U.S. And this is just, for all the other teams, and due respect to some of them, where you're like, oh, I've heard of him.
It's crazy.
Look at this. McDavid, Crosby, McKinnon, McCarr, full stop. Reinert, Point. There's so many guys. We talked about Brad Marchand probably.
That's all they're taking, those six,
just
right?
They can't play
That's all
anybody
they
else,
need,
right?
yeah.
No goalies. You just have to play with those guys.
It's crazy. It's crazy to see Reinhardt, too, now be that level, right? He wasn't that guy.
Is there any disputing it now?
No, absolutely not, and he deserves it.
I can't even fathom being on the ice trying to defend McDavid, McCarr, McKinnon. Like
Crosby.
Well, yeah, but Sid's not with the
Picture the
speed.
power play, though.
Yeah. Oh
Remember
my
that
God.
power play, the first goal he scored in the Four Nations?
You ain't playing no neutral zone trap against them guys.
Don't you
because the
think that
neutral zone
Harley's
never
got a
ends.
great chance after what he did to the Four Nations to be on?
Well, yeah,
this
but he
with-
can't go right away. He's got to take a little break. He's got to come.
You want him to get called
stand
from
behind
the
the
beach?
bench because then he'll be elite like he was this time
So
around.
does anybody else for the Stars right now, or maybe they have a good season? Is Wyatt maybe on that, or Duchesne, or is it Harley the one you think will make that Canadian roster?
Wyatt was the one I had the eye on, and I talked to I don't remember if it was Nil or Janko, but they said that those guys were in those conversations. Duchesne, Wyatt, and then Harley before he ended up going. We're very deep in those conversations with Team Canada. So I would put Wyatt ahead at the point of that. Wyatt and Harley. I think Harley's going to make the team. I think Wyatt is the next guy that I would say that could crack it.
See, I'm after what I've seen in the playoffs, I'm TBD on them. I want to see what they play like in the first 30 or 40 games, especially Thomas. I mean, Thomas came out, it was his coming out party, and he was great. And then the way it ended when Miro came back was, I think it was, I don't want to say it was struggle for him, but I think it was disappointing for Harley when he got especially taken off the power play. I think you look at that at Thomas and go, was that just that moment there, or is he going to be that guy? Which I think we all believe he's going to be that guy. But what I'm saying is I think their management staff, which I'm guessing is Jim Nill part of that?
He is part of
I
it,
think
yes.
he's
Yeah,
part of
it
that.
was for both.
Yeah, so I think they would monitor that.
What about Jason Robertson?
Well, let's talk about the United States.
Look
Yeah.
at that.
Well,
He's
here we
American,
have
Sam.
Segue. That's what I was waiting
Matthew
for this.
and Brady Tkachuk. We have Quinn Hughes. Maybe his brother Jack will join later. Austin Matthews, Jack Eichel, Charlie McAvoy. Stacked group.
Yeah.
Jake Ottinger.
Oh, they didn't name Robo yet?
They haven't named Robo yet.
Okay.
But I would think that Ottinger is a shoe-in.
Yep.
Will he be the starter is going to be the question, or will it be Hellebuck? And then
Ella Buck.
does
Buck.
Jason Robertson make that
He's looking
list?
for it.
I
He's
know.
looking
I
for
He's
it.
see
looking
him.
for it.
I
He's
see
looking
him.
for it.
But do you think if Robo? There it is. I think if Robo can get healthy, have a good offseason, and play the first half of the season like he played the second half of this past season.
There's a lot of ifs in there.
Yeah, that's the problem with his situation. There are a bunch of ifs.
He falls in that
gotta-
same category.
Yep, he's got to be healthy. He's got to produce at a high level, and they have to trust that he's going to produce in a short.
I mean, if you think about it though,
competitive
but like he should be healthy, right? To have the summer. He should have a good start to the year. I don't think those are huge ifs.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
they're doable.
I think there's a lot of guys that are on the bubble for the U.S. team, like Tage Thompson. Does he get a shot? Well, does he play well? What if this guy? Like, I think Robo's in that conversation as well.
The other one is Bischel's suspension, whatever you want to call it, from international play. Is that through 2026, or is that up into 2026?
I'll have to look into that because
I know
he and the Swedish national team.
Well, they're not in it. Like, you're talking about his country?
Oh, I forgot to put Switzerland. We didn't talk about Swiss. I skipped right over them. Let's do it really fast. Switzerland is in it. And
they have a good team.
They have a good team.
I thought they had some kind of.
I can't
thing they
believe we did
couldn't play
11 of
until
12
the following year.
Here you go, lads.
There's-
Nico Hischier, Kevin Fiala, Nino Niederreiter, Timo Meyer, Jonas Siegenthaler, Roman Josi. They've got some good names there. The thing is Bischel was feuding with the Swiss national team, so we'll see on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's up until this year or if it's a year after the ban or whatever. But
All right. Tomorrow, we have a mystery guest. It's going to be great. Make sure you're there 2:00. Luds will find out then. You'll find out then. We can't promote it ahead of time.
Well, the mystery might be that I'm not even here.
Yeah,
Thank you very much to Bud Light and Happy Hour for the presenting sponsors of today's show. And, of course, huge thank you to Logan Stankoven for joining us. For Elijah, for Sam, for Luds, I'm Owen. See you tomorrow.
We all silly like the mayor.